Okay, great. So now after we had some conversations, we talked a lot about your tools. I showed some slides, but obviously I would like to give you a better impression of GitLab as well. So if you would like to, even though I'm not a technical person, I can show you the workflow a developer would have when working with GitLab. Would that be fine for you? Great, cool. So then let's directly jump in. And yeah, so this is what you would see if you enter GitLab. This is a repository. You see here the description of this project. You see all the files here in this project, maybe with the last commit and the last update, right? You can also add here some kind of README, and this is the source code management part of GitLab, right? And GitLab has the full version control capabilities. So the history, the commits that were made to this repository are transparent and traceable. So if you would like to work now on something new, right, you would probably open an issue. And so here at GitLab, this would be a list of issues. And let's jump in one of those issues. So in general, what is an issue? An issue is a discrete unit of work. For a developer, for example, can be also something non-development related, IT development related, right? Can be something out of the business world. So at GitLab, we also manage marketing events with those issues. So let's look at this issue. So this is the name of the issue. We have a unique number for this issue. You can describe which problems you would like to solve, would be the target personas that would benefit by solving this problem or by adding this functionality. You add some further details. You can also add some, designs maybe you came up with, and yeah. So you can also include your tasks, like to do, like checkboxes. And what I really like is, and this is where the increased operational efficiencies part of GitLab comes in, is that you have here some space where everyone, and really everyone, not just your team, also other teams, can collaborate, can discuss those issues. So you bring in maybe also someone from security. You bring in people which are not direct developers, but maybe assess the impact of this functionality out of a business perspective. So you can have here the discussion transparent and traceable. What you also can do what you want to do when you open those issues is you can add a milestone. In our case, a milestone is a release. Here, this was 13.5. Your developers can track the time that they would spend on working on this issue. You can add a due date, so until when this issue should be resolved, should be closed. You have labels. Labels are an important part of GitLab. They monitor your issues. They also control your issues. So you can say which business unit is affected by this, or should be included in this discussion, in this issue. Here in our case, we also say which GitLab tier is affected. Also, you can say which status does your issue have, like backlog, to do, etc. Exactly. And we also have weights, meaning, how high is the effort that you're, or how high is the effort for this issue, right? It's good to make your planning. It's good for project management or for the management or leadership in general to value the work of developers and so on. You also see the participants. The participants are people that somehow really participate in the discussion, in the coding part, in changing the description of the issue. Okay, great. So if now a developer would like to make a change to this issue, or in general a change, a commit to commit code, they would, in the case of GitLab, open a merge request. So a merge request, like I said, is a request to change code with a proposal to do it. So this normally you would have here the description. Why do you do this? What you do? The merge requests are normally directly related to an issue. You can close an issue if this merge request is approved, so merged. And here again, you would have to you would have some space for discussions also, right? And yeah, so here again, you see transparent which changes were made. By the way, this is not a merge request, or this wasn't an issue I worked on. It's just for me as a as someone who not worked at it. It's transparent, and this is what I really like. So here you see really which code was removed, which code was added. Okay, great. So now the GitLab CI parts comes in, right? So you would make a proposal, and you would like to change code now, and those code changes, the code commits, triggers pipelines. In this case, 4 pipelines were triggered, and here you see the different stages of those pipelines, and you get directly visual, easy to understand feedback. So you see, was the stage passed? Were the jobs in the stage passed? And did you have any warnings? Maybe were there any jobs that failed? In this case, it looks good, right? We have indeed here a test that failed. So this here, in this case, the test stage failed. And yeah, so I would like to show you more here, because I think it's a super important and super strong part of GitLab as well. So this would be the overview of a GitLab pipeline. Those are the different stages. You can define the stages. I will explain more in a minute. And yeah, so here let's look at the test stage. So the test stage, that can be the quality assurance, that can be the security part, right? So you have here dependency scanning included. You check for the code quality. You have static analysis, secret SAS, so secret detection, static application security testing, dynamic application security testing. All this can be done here. And yeah, you would get here obviously more overviews or better overview, in detailed overview if you would need it, of the jobs, maybe of the failed jobs, right? And here you would see the console output you may know from other tools if you want to really have a more detailed overview. Great. So I just mentioned you can define those stages, you can define the jobs, and it's actually not that hard to do it at GitLab. So you remember here the different stages, right, and the different jobs, and you can include jobs, you can remove jobs, you can configure those jobs, you can even add or remove stages, and this is all done via YAML file. I think it's easy to understand. So you would define here the stages, you would define the image, and yeah, some jobs can be defined in those YAML files. And yeah, so we provide a documentation around that. I think this can be very helpful if you would like to come up with your own pipeline. But in general, those would be the way at GitLab of how to define those pipelines, how to configure it. And yeah, so this is just a rough overview. Would you have any questions? So I'm happy to answer your questions.